Hello, my name is Min Kim, and welcome to Random Coding Session number 1. Today I'll be building a simple resizing application so that Visual Studio or any other Windows application are placed exactly in one spot on the screen and fit exactly in a 720p content. The code developed here will be open sourced and downloadable at ninjacrab.com. This is a random coding session, so it's not an introductory session on how to do things, and it's not exactly like an advanced session. There's not going to be the best practices. I'm just really going to try to get the job done. So it's just a purely random coding session. Alright. If you guys have any questions, feedback, or requests, please leave a comment. If you like what you see, please subscribe. So let me first show a demo of what the application looks like. You see a full screen Visual Studio right now, and I'll just pretty much select the Visual Studio, press my little resize button, bam, it shrinks into a certain size. And I can pretty much do that with any other application. So if I get Chrome over here and I just click resize, it also shrinks into the exact same constraints. So maybe you're asking, why would you do this? So I am using a streaming application called FFsplit. It doesn't currently have any fancy window selectors for regions. So you either have to select the whole desktop or manually draw a rectangular region. And if this does become a common thing for me, it gets really annoying to resize the application exactly in a certain spot on the screen and then set it exactly to 1280 by 720 pixels. And usually when I'm developing offline, I'm not really using this tiny screen. I'm full screening it and taking advantage of my monster resolution. So yeah, that's the purpose of it. So we'll go ahead and let me just make sure that it's placed exactly where it needs to be. And now we're going to get off to the coding session. So now I am a little bit of a narcissist / exhibitionist, so you will get the luxury of seeing me through this little video while I code. And let's just go ahead and begin. So we're going to go ahead and add a new project to the solution. And we're going to start with the WPF shell. So ninjacrab.resizer.wpf shell. Fantastic. Okay, great. So again, nothing fancy. We're just going to have a standard application, WPF application. We've got a grid. We're just going to put a data grid, item source. We'll make it to a binding of processes. We'll also auto-generate the columns. That sounds fantastic. We'll also have a selected item. Oops, not index. Item. Fantastic. Okay. And we'll set that binding to also the selected item. Okay. Great. Now we'll also need a button, so that once the row is selected, it will go ahead and resize the row that's selected. So we're going to add 2 row definitions. This will be on the first row. Our button will be on the second row. Content, we'll just call it resize. The command will be binding to resize command. Fantastic. Okay. Now that we have our screen pretty much set, let's just set the dimensions of this too. So we'll just have the height of the first one equal to star, so that it takes as much as possible, and then the height of the second one equal to auto, so that it's sized proportionally to the button. Looks like there's a complaint here about the button and the grid. What am I missing? Button constraint size. Missing the double quote here. Okay, great. The button looks enormous. Why is that? Oh, because none of them have a grid row defined yet. So grid row 0. We'll set the second one to grid row 1. And just so that it's a little bit more visible on screen for everybody, we'll go ahead and format this code a little bit. Fantastic. Okay, now that we have this, we need to do a little magic for the code behind. So we'll just do this dot loaded plus equals sender event, and then we'll say when the thing loads, we'll have this dot data context equal new, and we'll need to create a new view model. So we'll make one up for now, view model. Great. So now we'll generate a class for that. All right, and I am going to be using some stuff from Prism just so I don't have to rewrite it. Now the library is going to be included, let's see, within Resize. So I'm just going to make sure that it's there for you guys when you download it. Okay, so now that's there. We're going to make our view model, inherit from the notification object of Prism. Okay, great. And I do have a custom snippet for the purposes of this video, so I'm just going to have it build out my property. So one of the first things that I had was a list of processes. So we'll make it a binding list for now. Who knows if we'll actually fill it, but we'll see. And we're going to actually create a model type for it. We'll do that later. Processes. And then processes. Fantastic. Okay. Add the references for that. Let's create the class for process models. This via my convention, I just like to. I know I'm not going to make this really formal or really clean, but some habits are hard to kill. So, creating a models folder, we'll go ahead and add the little process model. Great. So this also will require to be a notification object, as it's going to be bound to the screen. Notification object. Great. And since this is a recursive exercise, I do know what fields we need, so I'm just going to go ahead and add all the fields that we have. So first is int process ID, great. And we'll add another one, noti prop, and then the next one is going to be string of process name, great. Next one is going to be string window title. Okay. And the last one will be an in pointer main window handle. Great. Okay. Main window handle. All right. That looks good. That looks pretty good. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go to our view model. Now we can finally add the reference to process models. And we've got one of the things that we need for our view. So we've got process, we need selected items. So let's add selected items as well. It's going to be in our view model. Okay. So we'll add a noti prop on that. And then that's going to be a process model. Selected items. Selected process. I think it's called selected item. All right. Great. So now that we have selected item, let's see what else we need. We need the resize command. Okay. I keep going that one. Need to go to view model. All right. I command. And then resize command. Resize command. 2 M's. Great. Resize command. Okay, fantastic. Let's add the namespace for I command. Okay, great. So now we have most of the stuff that we need. We'll look at it, the view model. That looks great. Okay. And so now we actually need to acquire a list of all the processes that the view is going to display. So we're going to do some simple code, create a constructor, and we'll say when this thing instantiates, we'll just go ahead and set that. Now again, this isn't trying to be like the most efficient way or whatnot. It's just trying to get the job done. So I'm not really going to be worried about loading the processes on a background thread and then firing them after the processes are required. So we'll say processes. Okay, so first we'll get the system namespace of process. Get processes. Fantastic. That returns an array. So we'll say var processes equals. Okay, so now we've got a list of all the processes. We can't actually bind the list of processes to this specific type to the screen. I've tried earlier because there was an access denied. I presume it must be because some fancy reason. I'm actually not really sure why, but I haven't investigated. So So what you need to do, so to just get through that, that's why the process model was actually created. So now that processes are here, we only want processes that have a visual window with it. So we'll say where, let's just go ahead and kind of clean this up just in case we have multiple clauses, where process such that process main window handle does not equal int pointer 0. Yeah, I think that sounds good. And then we want to select process. We're going to generate a new process model, and we'll just have that for now. So we're going to set the process ID equals to the process.id. We'll be setting the process name equal to the process name. Okay. We'll set the window title equal to the process window title, main window title. And finally, we're going to set the main window handle equal to the process main window handle. Okay. So now this link statement is just going to return it into another variable. So, but that's actually going to be what we want for processes. So we'll actually have that equal to new binding list process model of all this jazz. Let's just go ahead and tab this over only because of my ADD-ness. Okay, does that look good? Hang on, it wants a list. Let's give it a list. To list. Okay, great. So now we'll have a list of processes, and that should be fine. Let's just see how it looks right now. We'll go ahead and kick this thing off. So as I launch the application, there we go. It looks like kind of similar. Has a list of all the applications that the previous one had. Currently doesn't do anything, but it definitely just shows at least the windows. All right, so we're mostly there. Now we're going to be doing something called PInvoke, and I do have snippets for this only because I thought it's really ridiculous if all of you were to watch me Google PInvoke.net to try to find exactly what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and slam this in here, and if anybody has any questions, again, just please reach out and I can provide you guys with links and information, or maybe even another video about this if you guys are interested. So I'm adding 3 specific things. One, I'm acting a struct that defines the rectangular regions, so left, top, right, bottom. Another PInvoke command, well, not another, but the first PInvoke command of GetWindowRect, and this command essentially will take a window handler and provide you with the window dimensions. And the next one is set window position, which sets the window position, and that's exactly what we want to do. So since we get the actual window handle when we get the list of processes, we'll be able to leverage that information when we actually run the command. So let's define the command as we get in here. So we'll have submit command, or selected. Nope, did we have the command here? What wasn't it called? Resize command. Resize command equals new delegate command. Okay, and we'll call it the resize command handler. It's just my specific naming convention. That's what I roll with. All right, great. And generates new method. Let's go ahead and pop to the bottom. Just typically we'll have regions and all that kind of stuff. But again, we're not focusing on code cleanliness. We're just trying to get the job done. So now the resize command handler is we're just well, let me just go ahead and do that too. Private bool can resize command execute. And then if selected item does not equal null, or dir. So return selected item doesn't equal null. Great. Okay. That's easy enough. So can resize command execute. Okay. Great. All right. Now we shouldn't really have to check that, but I'm ultra cautious, so I'm just going to double check it anyway. So if selected item does not equal null, then we're going to go ahead and say going to say? We're going to say we're going to get the window rect. So we'll just define rect target window dimensions. Fantastic. We'll say GetWindowRect, and we'll have to generate a new handle reference, set it to this, and selected item dot main window handle, and then out target window dimensions. Okay. You should do some little more error checking here. Again, I'm going to be a little lazy about it. So now I'm going to do a set window position. And I'm going to do selected item main window handle. And then I'm just going to do in pointer 0 because I don't want to do anything else with the Z order. So this is where I'm going to specify which location in the pixels of the screen I want it. So for my XML configuration for FF Split, I had it at 800 pixels by 300, but for the sake of this demo, I'm actually going to make it a little bit different. So I'm going to make it, let's say 900 and 400. And also I made the width of this 1280. I'm just going to go ahead and make this 800 by 480, my old resolution of my legacy plasma TV. And in flags, I'm just going to leave it 0. Okay. So if all goes well, this should work. Cross our fingers. Here comes the little application. So I'm going to go ahead and select on Chrome, and of course it's not actually activating to the command. Let's 86 that just for temporary purposes. I'll have to go back and look into it later. All right, so we're going to select our Chrome window, resize it, and bam, all of a sudden, now it's exactly where we want the screen to be, size exactly how we want it, and that's about it. So naturally, if you want the application to move it to a different position and size it to a specific position, you would just change it in the parameters of that set window call. And you could definitely do a little bit more with it. I mean, we could probably end up making the window have maybe 2 more options to say like what's the new resolution, or maybe even 4 more options to say like where would you want it and what are the specific sizes. Also, hopefully in the future FF Split matures a little bit more and it can go ahead and select the window so I don't have to go through this exercise, but optimally I think it'd still be beneficial to have something that auto sizes to a specific size, because especially for reading text on streaming, you don't want to have like the text too tiny. So yeah, that's generally that's the gist of the demo. So I hope all of you have enjoyed what you saw. Again, I will put notes up on the links on the bottom of this video, and if anybody has any interest, again, you can download the code at ninjacrab.com, and there will be links for the Microsoft Prism libraries as well. Again, any questions, comments, please make sure you leave a feedback. And then, yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.